Hey everyone, so this video is about a couple of shortcuts we can use to make new tracks and about customizing our views in the mix and edit window. All right, let's get started. Okay, so making new tracks. Sometimes we want to add a new track very quickly and just a single track, say, while we're working. And it might be a little bit of a pain to go track, new, or to even memorize that shortcut that's Shift Command N or Shift Control N on a Windows machine. We might not want to deal with all of this all the time. So there's a couple other ways to create new tracks. One is you can double click in a couple of different places. So in the edit window, we can click anywhere in this dark gray area and we will get whatever kind of track we most recently created. So if I just created an audio track, I'll get another one by double clicking here. Or if I haven't created any new tracks, I will automatically get a stereo audio track. So double click, and I automatically get a brand new track there. And then I'm going to hit delete. And also in the mix window, anywhere in the gray, the dark gray area, notice I got a new track down here at the end, and it's defaulting to the last kind of track that I made, which is a mono audio track currently. I'm going to hit delete. So if I had made an instrument track recently, so let's make a stereo instrument track and then create that. If I double click in the gray now, I'll get another stereo instrument track. So it will default to whatever you most recently created, or if you've not created anything, it will create a stereo audio track. And one other place we can do that is in the tracks list. I can double click in the tracks list and that will also get me a new track of whatever the most recent kind was. So there's that new instrument track right there. Cool. So we can also use some modifiers to get specific types of tracks that we want. So holding down Command and double clicking gives me a stereo audio track. Holding down Option and double clicking gives me a stereo instrument track. Holding down Control and double clicking, Control or Start, will give me an aux input stereo. And I can get a master fader by holding down Shift and double clicking. And then I can also, I'm going to get rid of these real quick. I can also get multiple tracks by combining these. So if I want a master fader and a, let's say, instrument track and an audio track, all of which will be stereo, I can hold down Shift and Option or Alt and Command or Control and then double click and I will get all three. And there they are, audio track, instrument track, master fader. So that's that kind of neat trick if you want to memorize a couple of shortcut keys along with double clicking, or if you just quickly need another of whatever you just most recently created, it's a great way to do that, right? Now we spent a little time renaming buses and inputs and things from the input and output dialog, the I/O dialog, but we can also do that right from the nameplates of the inputs and outputs. So if I right click one of these nameplates, I can actually rename my output bus, for instance, right there on the spot, and it will automatically rename it in the I/O settings as well. So I can call it, instead of analog 1, 2, I could call it main out, right and left, and hit OK. And notice all of those that were previously called A1, 2 are now called main out. I can also rename buses right on the fly too. So right click and then rename, and then I can also change long verb into something else if I want to. So right click on the nameplate down to rename. If there's an input chosen, you can right click and rename that input as well. So I'll get a little dialog by right clicking and clicking rename, and maybe instead of mic line high Z, I can do something else, right? So you need an input there, or otherwise right click won't do anything. So right clicking a send, right clicking an input, right clicking an output, and choosing rename will allow me to rename any of those inputs and outputs and bus names that I want to, which is a quick way to do that. And you'll see that in I/O, those names get updated. So here's my I/O dialog. Now it's called main out right left. There's a couple places to also edit how the view actually works. So we're currently in the mix view, so I can come down here at the bottom left to this librarian menu and see other things. So I can get an EQ curve in here. If there's EQ placed on that track, you can see it, which is kind of fun. You can see I/O, but you could toggle that if you didn't need it at the moment. So you can get rid of I/O, and this won't go away until I close it out by clicking away somewhere. So that allows me to kind of customize a whole bunch of different things at once without losing my view. And now there's way too much stuff in here, right? So no, I don't need all those inserts. No, I don't need 2 rows of sends. I probably don't need this virtual instrument view. I don't need mic preamps. So you can customize as you like and get all these different things. And you can do the same thing in here in the edit window by clicking this guy at the top of the tracks view. So I can click comments, for instance, or I/O is a really common one to also be able to see while you're in this window. So now I can see my input and output and actually get a little floating fader too right from there, which is kind of nice. Just clicking that tiny little fader icon. So that's pretty helpful. And I can also type comments, like here is a comment. So you can also see comments and things like that here just by clicking and going comments, wherever you might be hiding, comments right there. And now my comment is right there. So you can also right click any of these labels on the tops of these chunks of the view. So sends, for instance, or inserts. If I right click those, I get that same librarian menu, which might be quicker sometimes. So sends, inserts, and I can actually see all of what's available. Maybe get rid of that. Right, so there's all these different things I can get rid of if I want to. Very easy, quick way to do it. So either the label of the kind of view area, like this EQ, I can get rid of if I want to by right clicking and then unchecking things. I can also get rid of them completely by holding down Option and clicking on a label. If I don't need to see the sends, I can Option click it and the sends will disappear. And then again, if I want them back, I can right click one of the other labels to get it back. I can right click a label to get all my options for the views. Okay, so in the mix window, while we're here, we can also change how wide the tracks are by going View, Narrow, Mix. And that will give us thinner tracks. You get many more tracks in View. And then if I want to go back to a wider mix, I can go down to View, Narrow, Mix again and uncheck it by clicking on it, and that will go back to the wider view. Okay, so in the tracks list, you can also do some customizing of what you see. So any of these circles over here, if you click them, it will hide that track. So you can also click and drag down these and get rid of a bunch. So you'll notice that my tracks are changing. So there's none, and then I can go, okay, I want this one, I want to see that, and I can see just those 4 tracks. Now we will still hear all these other tracks unless they're muted, right? So, or you can solo what you see if you need to, but these still play back even though we're only seeing these 4 things right now. So be aware that you're still going to hear things even though you're only seeing just a few. And then you also have a pop-up menu here that can do even more complicated things, which is kind of nice. So you can go show selected, you can go show all tracks. There's all the tracks. You can show specific types of track, like audio tracks or MIDI tracks. So if I just want to see what my aux input tracks are, I can hit that. And there's all of my aux inputs in one spot, very quickly shown. Also, if I hide a bunch of things, hide all tracks maybe, I can go over here and go restore previously shown tracks. And it will go back to that last view, which is kind of nice too. Now this pop-up, these things are not available in the menus like so many other things are. So this is the only place you're going to find these options to show all or show specific types, right? So you can also show just inactive tracks if you want to, or frozen tracks. Those are pretty useful. Finally, there's a couple other things that you might see while you're working in a project document, so a cloud-based document. And that is typically if you're logged in and you're in your project, you will see in this drop-down an option for collaboration tools. And let me show you what that looks like real quick. track collaboration tools, and you can check it, and it will show up in your toolbars up here at the top. And it looks like this. So you can upload changes on a specific track. You can download new changes from whoever you're collaborating with. You can add someone to collaborate on a particular thing. You can chat with them. So a few of those things are also available when you're in those cloud-based projects. And that's pretty much it. All right, see you in the next one.